Have you ever thought about how strange Wi-Fi actually is? You can sit on your couch, open your phone, and instantly watch a video, send a message, or load a website. But your phone isn't plugged into anything. There are no wires connected to it, and yet somehow it's still connected to the internet. So how does that actually work? How does information travel through the air between your device and the internet? The answer starts with something we can't see: radio waves. When you connect to Wi-Fi, your phone or laptop starts communicating with a device called a router. That router is usually the small box sitting somewhere in your home. It's connected to the internet through a cable that runs to your internet provider. But instead of sending data to your phone through a wire, the router sends it using radio signals. These radio waves travel through the air and carry information between the router and your device. When you open a website, your phone sends a request to the router using these signals. The router then sends that request through its wired connection to the internet. Once the information comes back, the router sends it back to your phone the same way it received the request, through radio waves. Your phone receives those signals and turns them back into the data you see on the screen. All of this happens in a fraction of a second. But there's another interesting question. If Wi-Fi signals are traveling through the air, how does your phone know which signals belong to your router? After all, there are usually dozens of Wi-Fi networks nearby. That's where network names come in. Every router broadcasts a unique name called an SSID. When you select your network and enter the password, your device connects specifically to that router. From that point on, your phone and the router communicate using a shared set of rules so their signals don't get mixed up with other networks. You might have also noticed that Wi-Fi isn't always perfect. Sometimes the signal is strong, other times it becomes slow or drops completely. That's because radio waves can be affected by obstacles. Walls, floors, furniture, and even other electronics can weaken the signal. The farther you are from the router, the weaker the connection becomes. That's why Wi-Fi works best when you're closer to the router. Modern routers also use different frequency bands to send signals. The two most common ones are 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz. The 2.4 GHz signal travels farther and passes through walls more easily, but it's usually slower. The 5 GHz signal is faster, but it doesn't travel as far. Your router automatically chooses the best signal depending on where you are and how many devices are connected. There's another clever trick happening behind the scenes too. When data is sent over Wi-Fi, it isn't transmitted as one long message. Instead, it's broken into tiny pieces called packets. These packets travel through the air and are quickly reassembled by your device. It's actually very similar to how information travels across the internet itself. Because Wi-Fi uses radio waves instead of wires, it allows devices to connect to the internet from almost anywhere within range. That's why we can stream movies on laptops, scroll through social media on our phones, and connect smart devices all around our homes, all without plugging anything in. So the next time you connect to Wi-Fi and a video loads instantly, remember what's really happening. Invisible radio signals are traveling back and forth through the air, carrying information between your device and the router at incredible speeds. A wireless system quietly moving data all around you, and that's how Wi-Fi works. There are thousands of everyday technologies around us that seem simple until you ask why. And if you're curious about how the world works, there's plenty more to explore right here on Curiosity Explained.